is BOBcast.
BuffaloBrotherhood.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the BOBcast, the Buffalo Brotherhood weekly podcast. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving weekend as we roll off into a normal work week for only 3 weeks. And then we get to do like holidays, noodles, ham, and turkey all over again. I am Ryan, and alongside me, as always, is
Mike.
And across the table from him, because we've changed the whole dynamic of the room, the aliens are behind me now, and I can't do anything about it, is... Hold on, he's on his iPad. He'll come back.
Doug.
Yep, and there's Doug. And then joining us this week is a very special guest. I'm excited for him to be here. That's the only guy I get to talk Star Wars to more than these two guys. And I would say... An 80s fan of the 80s,
Big.
80s genre, musician, generally, you know,
Jack of all trades.
Sure,
master of none.
absolutely, is Doug Fant. So hi, Doug, how's it going?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, hey, we're excited to have fresh meat,
Meat.
new talent in the room. So,
Love and Kisses.
what? Who?
Back by popular request by Mikey. The number 88. In amateur ham radio, 88 is used for shorthand for Love and Kisses when signing a message.
So like XOXO. I could see how that would work because you sort of have the O's at the top of the 8s and the X's where they cross.
And neo-Nazis also use it as an abbreviation for the Nazi salute.
Yeah, sure.
So there you go. Two complete opposite ends of the meaning of the number 88.
88?
88.
How does...
Don't do that. Just in case anybody's watching.
I'm confused on how that... I can get the, like you said, the...
Maybe it's like
OX,
hugs and kisses all over again. It's just the Nazi way.
I don't know. The letter H is 8th in the alphabet, whereby 88 becomes HH.
Hail Hitler. HH.
Ah.
So,
Neato.
Really? I like the
guess.
zeros and the X's more than anything
Let's
else.
spend a few more minutes talking about Hitler.
Let's do that. Did you see the new show on like the Discovery Channel where they're trying to prove that he went to Argentina or something?
Yeah, I've been watching that in Oak Island every week.
Every week?
Yeah.
Well, see, you're a fan.
I watched the trailer for Curse of Oak Island. I want to watch it now. I am
good.
going to watch it. Everyone talks about it.
It doesn't matter if they don't dig up a thing. It's just like, just dig.
Yeah, it's kind of like the searching for Bigfoot. So they're never going to find anything, but
It's the drama.
they hear a twig snap. I think that was it.
There's conclusive evidence. We found it here.
Gone squatching.
This is squatchy. It's awful squatchy out here tonight.
Yeah. They got somebody named Bobo or something, some tall guy.
It's Boba. He was in 2 of the movies. He's going to make a return.
Is he? Is
No,
he still alive?
wait, no, hold
Okay.
on. Yes, and we're going to talk all about Star Wars next week. So make sure you come back next week. We're going to give like our final
Predictions.
Sort of, we're going to go on the record as to say that these are our last. I don't want to say will and testament because that's creepy and that's not what it is. It's just a movie for crying out loud. But this is like the ones where we can't turn back from, where we're going to commit, we're going to write it down, we're going to record it on video and in audio. So we have to stick to our guns and really come up with our last chance to seem like an amazingly Sherlock Holmes Star Wars person.
Okay.
So come back next week for that. But I was going to talk about Star Wars Battlefront really briefly. Did anybody buy Star Wars Battlefront?
I did not.
I'm playing Fallout.
Yeah, Fallout 4.
I don't have time for Battlefront.
The only thing I was going to bring up is that how Mike has vehemently denied Boba Fett's existence within the current universe because, you know, in his mind he's dead. He
died in a pit.
You know what? I can see that. If you are playing Star Wars Battlefront by, is it Vice Games? I think it's Vice Games. Published by EA.
Are you about to give a spoiler?
I don't know if it's a spoiler so much, more of an Easter egg.
Okay.
If you were playing Battlefront and you're doing the match on the Tatooine desert,
Right.
and you are playing as Boba Fett, there is a Sarlacc pit on the map. It's just there. And if you're just a random trooper or a random soldier or whatever, and you fall into the Sarlacc pit, you die. If you're Han Solo and you fall into the Sarlacc pit, you die. If you're Emperor Palpatine, because they have heroes that come in and out depending on the power-ups. If you're Emperor Palpatine, you fall into the Sarlacc pit, you die. The only character that does not die if he falls into the Sarlacc pit is Boba Fett, because they allow him to use his jetpack to launch himself back out. It takes a lot of health, takes a lot of damage, but Boba Fett can fall into the Sarlacc pit and come out. Mike?
That's dumb.
That's all you have to say?
Well, think about it.
I'm just saying, maybe there's some,
the Emperor dies. Ultimate Power Emperor dies, but
let's be
Boba
honest,
Fett survives.
He fell into just a different kind of pit. I mean, it wasn't a Sarlacc pit. He was thrown into a different kind of pit and died. So there's canon. There's canon that the Emperor will die if he falls into a pit.
Yeah. He fell into like the core of the Death Star.
All right.
A little different.
A little bit different than the Sarlacc. Slightly different.
Death is death, man.
Did he really die?
To a dead man.
Did he really die?
Save that for next week.
Okay.
Let's talk about that next week. This week, though, if you are a fan of movies, like Star Wars or any other kind of movie, this is the episode you want to stick around for, because the four of us have compiled, and I'm really anxious to see the variation of movies that are end up on our list. We have each assigned ourselves a homework assignment where we are going to we had to come here tonight with our top 20 movies. Now, there were some, and I didn't fill you into this, Doug, so I apologize if it didn't work out this way, but we did have a little bit of a trilogy sort of rule where, like, if you wanted to have one movie from the trilogy, you could essentially count all the movies from said trilogy.
Okay.
Mainly just
then I have 19.
Well, because mainly for that rule, like, because if you're Doug and if you're Doug Hyatt and you like Lord of the Rings, well, that's going to take up 3 slots if that's the way we do it.
Right.
5 if he counts the Hobbit, but I don't.
No, we don't. Count the Hobbit.
Well, that's all right. Just wanted to see how that worked out.
I have three different sets like that.
Like, I would be like, Star Wars would be 6 spots, 7 spots. Let's be honest, already just based on trailers alone. So we just sort of combined a lot of our trilogies. And, I mean,
for Star Wars,
Phantom Menace is terrible, but it's still better than almost every other movie out there because it's Star Wars.
I don't know. Hey,
that's
a bold statement.
Well, I'll hold to that because that's the only place you find a light. That's the best lightsaber battle in the whole entire, except for maybe 3.
Yeah, like we said, worst movie, best lightsaber.
So
battle.
I mean, the best lightsaber battle deserves to be in my top 20 movies, regardless.
Okay,
15 minutes of movie time.
It's the.
Well, I guess I'll have to hear the rest of your list.
Right, there we go.
It's a great pumpkin. Charlie Brown almost made my list because we watch it every year. But
no, I didn't include anything like that because that's something you watch during a certain time once a year. That's different, in my opinion. I don't know. That's something that I didn't put on there because I wouldn't think I'm just going to watch that movie. I put stuff that I know that I would. Well, if I picked up,
why don't we start there? Start there. What was your methodology for choosing your top 20 movies?
They were movies that I could watch multiple times over and over again at any point. At any point, I could pick up that movie and watch it over and over again.
Okay.
At any point of the movie as well? That was kind of one of the things we talked a lot about at home.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Because, I mean, there are some movies that I sort of have to get into the feeling of, and, like, I grow into the movie, and as I watch it, I enjoy the journey that it takes me on. I can't just, like, start watching Rudy in the middle of Rudy. I don't feel the same emotional attachment. But if I'm there in like the steel factory at the beginning of the movie and my buddy dies and I'm working in St. Mary's, then when I go to when I charge out on the field for the last game of my senior year, I'm like in it. I'm in it to win it.
But haven't you seen the movie so many times that you can?
Hey, if The Rock isn't there to cheer me on and to tell me that I am something, don't ever say I'm nothing. Then the movie.
That wasn't The Rock. It was Rock. Just Rock. ROC.
I was like, I didn't know The Rock was in Rudy.
No, it was the guy that played.
I'm lost
he played Rock in the. They had a TV show.
He was in Aliens 3.
Right.
He was in Aliens 3.
Right.
One of the
I was going to say, was he people's elbowing? You know.
The movie where they chased down Ice-T and they were hunting.
No, I know who Rock. Yeah, I know.
That's Surviving the Game.
Surviving the Game. That didn't make my list, but that's a good movie.
It made my list. I got to take it off.
Okay. Well, why don't you? We'll go to our guest and ask what his methodology was before we go to Ryan, because I know that'll take 20 minutes.
Sorry, I'll try to keep it short.
My methodology was pretty simple. I just approached it as if I were stuck on a desert island yet had electricity, what movies could I take with me and not get sick of, in any rotation? Also, some of them were, if I'm flipping through channels on TV, kind of going back to what we were saying, doesn't matter what point of the movie it is, I can sit there and watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good set. Ryan?
I brainstormed as many movies as I can think of that I consider the best movies, and know full well knowing that some of these movies are going to be special to me.
Yeah.
Because of the circumstance or the setting or the time that I discovered them in my life and so forth. But also I tried to find movies that I guess were universal classics in some instance. Not for everybody, but just movies that I felt like had some... I don't know. I just didn't want these to all be just like my top... I don't know how I'm trying to say this.
It should be, though. Why would you do that? Why would you put something...
Sort of the desert island mentality. I love science fiction. So I could come up with 20 favorite science fiction movies that I love. But if I'm on a desert island, or if I want this list to represent me as a person, I'm more than just a science fiction fan. So I tried to sort of weed out... Like, if I had too many alien movies, which... I had too many alien movies. If I had too many alien movies, or if I had too many fantasy... Yeah, I had too many fantasy movies. I tried to sort of just be like, okay, I'm just going to pull the 4 that I think are the best of that genre so that I have room for something else. Because we sort of talked about the Great Pumpkin thing a little bit. Like to me, I wanted a Christmas movie on here. Not because I think it's necessarily one of the best 20 movies of all time, but if it's a movie that I want this list to represent me or who I am as a person, I need some of that seasonal.
I have 2 movies on here that I would watch during the holidays because they would be considered a holiday movie.
Die Hard.
I would watch them many times.
Die Hard, the best Christmas movie ever.
It is a holiday movie.
Die Hard has actually made it on my original list.
Oh.
Die Hard 3, but it didn't survive the cut.
Well, I think
Doug, what'd you do?
My methodology was similar. I broke it up into, I think, about 5 or 6 different categories of movie: action, adventure, war, western, sci-fi, fantasy, comedy, and horror, I think, were my categories. And then just listed a bunch, what I felt were my top movies in those categories. And then looked at them, okay, which one did I feel, were the pinnacle that I loved the most and that I would sit and watch anytime it came on TV at any point in the movie. I'd just sit and I would watch it regardless of what was going on. And those were the basic criteria for what I came up with. But like you said, to try to do something a little more rounded out, because otherwise it would be heavy. It'd be heavy sci-fi, fantasy, action, adventure, and then like war. Probably war movies.
Yeah, well, like an example that I was constantly coming back to was like I had Rocky, Rudy, and The Sandlot,
Rocky.
like all in one line.
I forgot to put Rocky on my list. That's a great movie.
So I had Rocky.
It almost made my list.
Rudy, and The Sandlot. And
Rocky should be on the list.
Sort of the sports sort of trifecta that I was interested in. Field of Dreams.
It's streaming now. Rocky is.
Yeah. Honestly, I ended up not going with... There wasn't room for any of the 4 on my actual list, but I made me a decent honorable mentions list over here. Just so
I know that's going to happen. I know all 3 of you are going to say something. You're going to say a movie, and I'll be like, oh, man, that should have made my list.
I'm sure we'll all do that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I think obviously at least 3 of us... Doug, I don't know you well enough to say there's another trilogy on there, but I think two trilogies we can completely knock off that we all have. Because I said before we started the show that we would treat this like, so we didn't all go through the list and talk about the same movies, that we treat kind of like categories. So if one person brings up a movie, you can say that made your list. Unless there's something specific you want to say about that movie, I think we should just leave it at that, saying, oh, that was on my list kind of thing.
Yeah.
Unless there's something you really like, a meaningful reason that you need to talk about. Ryan will talk about all of them, but
no. I'm going to try to be good. I'm trying to be good today.
Actually, my top 3 movies are all trilogies.
Yeah.
Well, the trilogies that there may be movies outside of them, but I consider them trilogies.
And I have to mention too that my 20 movies are not in order.
Neither are mine.
Least a favorite or whatever.
Yeah, I did take the extra step and tried to order. That took the longest thing of trying to order them from most to least.
Yeah,
favorite of the most favorite.
I try to do the same thing, but
we'll jump around in your list.
The trilogy thing, though, I do have to say, because let's get started. There was movies here that I put on my list that were series or sequels or so forth, but I didn't feel that justified the whole entire trilogy. So, right, number 3 on my list,
I've got a couple of those too.
was Dark Knight Rises, because I think it was the best of the Christopher Nolan Batman movies.
No, we're gonna have to bump heads on that one.
That's fine. That's fine.
Same here.
Which one?
He said The Dark Knight.
No, wait,
Rises.
hold on. That's not what I meant.
I think you said Darkness Rises. I was like, what's Darkness Rises?
Wait a minute. What? I've lost it then. It's not Dark Knight Rises. What's the second one?
The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight. Oh, that's what I meant. Okay.
I was going to say, that's the third one, isn't it?
Mark out Rises. Because I didn't care much for Dark Knight Rises, but I loved Batman Begins. So, I had to take what was the best of them, which is The Dark Knight. But I couldn't put the whole trilogy on there because I could not stand.
Well, I put all 6 Star Wars in one spot, but I'm not going to put Episode 1 on it separately.
No, but I understand what you're saying. Some
because I have movies from a series.
Yeah.
You know.
So
I don't want it to represent the entire series.
My second movie on my list was sort of the same thing, and that's Jaws. I love the first Jaws.
Right.
But everything that came after that was atrocious, and I can't stand.
I don't think they had critical acclaim that movie did, though. So I don't even know if you would consider that like a trilogy per se.
There's 4 of them.
Anyway. But do you consider that like a package deal? You got to watch all of them? I don't think so.
Well, see, I don't consider the Batman movies. I don't feel like you have to watch those back to back to back.
Yeah.
But they were written and created with that intent. I mean, I felt like they were telling a story.
Yeah, but but it wasn't as strong of an effect as Star Wars.
I know what you're saying, because even with Star Wars, A New Hope could stand alone, Empire Strikes Back could stand alone, type of thing.
So could Return of the Jedi.
So Ryan,
I have to see Empire to know why Han's where he is and in the situation he is and all that kind of stuff. So.
Right.
Was Jaws on anybody else's list?
No.
Yes, Jaws was number 15 on my list.
I'm just kind of.
Let me mark it out.
Oh wait, what?
I'm going to mark it out so I don't say it again.
I don't have an additional.
No, I agree. Jaws, classic. It was number 1 on my horror genre.
I'm gonna
love
put,
Jaws.
Dark Knight. Anybody have Dark Knight on their list?
I do. Batman Begins. I think that's the best one of the series myself.
I go back and forth.
I know the argument is all about the Joker and what an awesome job Heath Ledger did and the story overall. But as far as the look of Gotham City and the origins of Batman, to introduce him in that way, I think that's the best one. Let me say one of the best comic book adaptations I think that's ever been made, other than the original Superman.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like I said, I bounced back and forth. If it wasn't for the third one, I would have considered the whole trilogy to be on my list. But if I had to pick one that I would watch, I just think Dark Knight has issues, and I think a lot of people didn't see that. It goes really long towards the end, long in the tooth.
Yeah.
But I love the origin story, and Begin really scratches that itch for me.
I had the Dark Knight on my list. I thought it was fantastic.
Okay.
Well, do you want to give us one of yours too, or whatever? Just pitch one out there, and we'll see what we got.
Yeah. Going along with the series thing, I threw out one of the James Bond, Goldfinger. Has to be probably my favorite James Bond movie.
No James Bond made my list.
No James Bond made mine.
Good movie.
The main reason is because, well, it's Sean Connery, but also the pacing and flow of the story. Most James Bond movies, at some point, they're going to drag for 15, 20 minutes, and you're just like, let's get on with it. But to me, Goldfinger just flows. It had the coolest gadgets. It's like the ultimate spy movie. And every spy movie that came after is based off of that one.
That is a good movie. Man.
007s were good. I mean, that was one that was there on my list. So I didn't pick a specific one though. So
you put James Bond?
No, I put 007. It's the same thing.
All 20, 20
James Bond.
Or whatever.
But because honestly, I was thinking
Just
more.
one.
If you're rebooting series, they started the whole reboot with different.
Who was the best James Bond?
I'd have to go. Do you want them in order?
Sure.
I'll go Sean Connery, and then I'll go Daniel Craig, and then I'll actually go George Lazenby because I think he would have made a good James Bond. He was just given a not the greatest movie in that transition period. And then Pierce Brosnan, Timothy Dalton, Roger Moore.
I'd say like to me, I really like the current telling. I like Daniel Craig as James Bond. I think they've treated the audience with a little bit more respect in the current tellings of the story. But Sean Connery would be
number one
too.
But it's weird though, not to stay on the James Bond thing for too long. But since they're supposed to be rebooting it with the Daniel Craig, but they kept the same M from the Pierce Brosnan movies. So it's kind of, is it a crossover? Is it a reboot? Or kind of what's going on with it? But
it's hard with Bond because they've sort of done that throughout the whole entire time.
And it's hard to come up with an original story anyway because of like the Bourne movies and everything. Everybody's trying to be a James Bond movie without calling it a James Bond movie.
Come on, Mr. Fleming. All right.
Mike.
Give us one, Mike.
The first one that popped in my head, and it always does because it always makes my list. It's in my top 5, but again, my list isn't in any order, is Fight Club.
Another good movie.
I think that movie is fantastic. It's always... the first time I saw it, it was one of the first movies, maybe not the first movie, but one of the first movies that I was completely and utterly shocked at the end of the movie of the spoiler in that movie, I'm not going to give it away, but...
It's a 20-year-old movie, but yeah,
you're not going to...
Yeah. But,
spoiler alert.
That, Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, fantastic in that movie. The whole... the feel of the movie and everything.
But we don't talk about Fight Club.
That's
right,
true.
that's right.
Yeah, I guess we can't talk about it.
We got to move on.
I will say, I wrote down Fight Club and Sixth Sense on the same slot, and they made my honorable mention, but didn't make my actual movie.
Oh, Ryan's got an honorable mention page, too.
Yeah.
Mainly just because I felt like it was the spoiler that made the movie awesome. Fight Club is better than Sixth Sense, but to me, like, those twists in both those movies is what you left the theater going.
Yeah,
Finkel is Einhorn.
There's so many different things in that movie that sell you that idea. That tell you
that
the
movie
answer.
Didn't make my list.
That tell you the answer, but it doesn't actually,
right.
Come out and say it.
Great. Doug, you want to give us one off your list?
All right, I'm going to I'll do mine for this round, and then I'll start the next round.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Because I'll do the 2 movies that, while they aren't the top of my list, they're probably the 2 movies that whenever they are on TV, no matter what, I will pretty much watch them. I'd say 90% of the time plus. So the first of those 2 is The Hunt for Red October. I love that movie. Every time it's on, it doesn't matter. I always watch it. Great. Fantastic. I don't know, spy thriller movie. Yeah. It's the first Tom Clancy film.
Sean Connery.
Trying to be Russian, but it doesn't matter. So
the Russian with a Scottish accent.
Yeah. He's deep undercover.
Yeah. And then the dude it's some weird casting because you got Aragorn,
Jack Ryan
in the movie. No, he's not in that one, is he?
Jack Ryan is
Alec Baldwin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
you talking about Viggo Mortensen?
Yeah. Is Viggo in that one?
I don't feel like
he's in
Some of
Crimson Tide.
Oh, no.
He's in Crimson Tide.
I sometimes get those 2 mixed up.
And then you got Tim Curry, who's also in it as a Russian. So there's some weird casting, but James Earl Jones obviously in it as well. So a great cast, great movie. So that's the end of this round, and then starting the next one. The other movie that is on that I will watch pretty much every time is Gladiator.
That is on my list.
It's on my honorable mention.
Love Gladiator.
On your honorable mention, really?
Probably the last really good Ridley Scott film. I haven't seen The Martian.
Interstellar 2?
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh,
No, I'm just
is that what it is? I don't.
No,
No,
is that,
it's not.
Matt Damon. Matt Damon's in Interstellar, and he plays a shipwrecked guy in that.
That's okay. That's
So,
true.
Did you say Gladiator was on your list, Doug?
No, I did not have that
No.
one actually.
We're
see.
still waiting for. Okay,
It's on mine.
it was on my honorable mention. We're waiting for that. What is it? Fibbage? Like when everybody has the same answer.
What?
Nah, never mind. I'm sorry.
Fibbage.
It's a different game. Apparently, it's okay.
So, and Gladiator is on a lot. On
It is.
whatever. What is
Yeah.
it? TNT or TBS or whatever.
FX and
Yeah. So I don't know. I love the start of that of the movie. That's my favorite part of it because he did go to quite a bit of trouble to try to make it somewhat realistic to that particular time. As far as the combat, they got a few things that they did.
I'm sorry. What are we talking about again?
Gladiator.
Okay, all right.
So
Sorry, I don't know what happened. Okay, do we all have Star Wars on our list?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
we all have Star Wars.
I thought so, but I just wanted to make sure.
Is it number 1 or number 2 on your list?
I'd put it number 1 because it's probably the freshest thing on my mind.
Is it
but-
number 1 on your list?
I didn't order my list.
if I had to order mine, it would have been
Number 1. It's
It-
number 2 on mine.
It probably
Have
would
you
be,
mentioned what was number 1 yet?
Lord of the Rings
I think it's
is number
obvious
1.
what was number 1 on his list.
Okay. All right.
So,
So how do we want to go? Who wants to go? Doug went. You want to go, Mike?
Yeah, I can go again. The next movie I put on here because, again, one of those I can watch constantly and not a lot of people really enjoy it. I don't think because a lot of people have ever watched it, but High Fidelity.
Yeah, that's
John
a good
Cusack and Jack Black, and those are the two main guys that are in it.
that would
Tim
be
Robbins is in
on
it.
that would be on your top 20 though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's not his
being,
top 5.
Being a
Is it in your top 5?
top 5, well,
That's the
a-
whole list.
That's a hint to the movie because it's top 5 records he comes
Right.
up with, stuff like that.
I think I've seen that
But-
movie once or twice.
It's a movie. It's a good movie. When I caught into it, and coming off of what Ryan said, is when it came out, I was in between relationships, stuff like that, and it kind of hit a bone, I guess, when it comes down to the idea of where he was and with a relationship and stuff like that. He collects records, I collect records. I mean, it just filled some holes at that time that was really
You have
good.
a really tall, geeky looking sister. He has a really tall, geeky looking sister. It's like your John Cusack reboot.
She's not that tall. Joan Cusack isn't that tall.
Are you marking all the ones that we all have? Are you starring those that all of us have on?
There's only been one so
Okay,
far.
Star Wars, right? Okay.
Yeah. So that makes my list. That's
Did High Fidelity make your list, Doug?
It did not.
Anybody else's? No.
It didn't even make my honorable
I didn't
mention.
even think
Okay.
about it. But
Okay.
I knew it was going to be on your list, though.
Yeah.
So let's put it. Doug, you want to give us one?
Sure. Let's see. I'll go with. I'm going to go with Blade Runner. Let's just get that out there.
Ooh. I left that off.
Unnarrated Blade Runner.
You don't want the director's cut?
I don't care for the narration.
I'd have to say Blade Runner is one of those movies I just never cared for. Not that it's not a good. I never got into it.
I've only watched it once.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't watched it more than one time.
I don't know. It's not that I didn't dislike it. I didn't really get into it.
It's an awesome mixture of two genres that don't normally be mixed. It's sort of the sci-fi and the noir sort of mixture. I mean, it's
Mixed with like the New York cop
exactly
type thing.
It's like I don't know. I always thought it was really fascinating storytelling and everything else, just because it's.
I just love Android movies in general and Philip K. Dick books, which
Right.
what that was based off of. The
Do
sheep-
androids sleep of electric sheep?
Do androids dream of electric sheep?
Yeah.
Or something like that. But
Do androids
I
sleep of electric sheep?
I didn't realize, but basically, was it Wachowski, the brothers, or whatever they are now?
Siblings. we call them
Siblings now.
Siblings
They basically
now, yeah.
stole the Matrix from him. Did you know that? I sat and I watched a YouTube video of him giving a speech from like 1970 something, talking about he basically believes in a simulated universe, and he described the Matrix in his speech.
that doesn't surprise me.
So I was
He's
like,
awesome,
they stole the Matrix from him. So he's the guy that did the
So
Man in the High Castle too.
Is iRobot on your list then?
No,
That's based on a Philip K. Dick book as well, right?
no, that's Asimov.
No, yeah.
That's right, Isaac Asimov. I'm done.
I should go back and watch Blade Runner. I know
Yeah,
they're
I
talking
watched it
about
when I was
rebooting
younger.
it too.
Well, they're supposed to be doing a sequel to it. That's supposed to be on Ridley Scott's to-do
Is it a
list.
sequel?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's busy though.
Yeah, he's got the aliens and all that other kind of stuff. But
Alien Covenant, I think is what it's called. So,
Blade Runner is in my honorable mentions list. It did make my top 20 because it's one of those sci-fi movies that I mean, I have some quirky other sci-fi movies, so I...
Well, give us another one, Ryan.
Well, I'm going to change it up completely. Tombstone. Tombstone is on my list.
well, that's a good movie.
I love Tombstone. So it actually fills my my fourth spot on the list. And I don't know if it's because I've watched it recently or just because I feel like I'm your Huckleberry.
I'm your Huckleberry. You beat me to it.
That's all right. But I mean, that movie come out and it really when I had a car and when I had a driver's license and when I had money and then it was at the video store when I worked at video stores. So I played it 1,000 times and I don't know. It's just Johnny Ringo
when Val Kilmer was thin.
Yeah. and dying of lung disease is Doc Holliday.
Billy Zane.
That was one of the few movies I've seen multiple times in the theater. So I mean, it's an awesome movie.
You went and saw that more than once in the theater?
Oh yeah. Only paid for it once.
What year did that? When did that come out? Was that mid or late 90s?
It was early to mid 93.
Okay.
I have IMDb open because I knew that this was going to happen.
Well, because there was a string of
93
of westerns.
It was just it was that and Wyatt Earp both come out in the same summer.
That and then and I mean, but through the 90s there you had Unforgiven.
See, I've got that on my list.
Unforgiven.
It was written down in my brain,
And then what was that? Was it Quick and the Dead? Is that the other with Gene Hackman and Russell Crowe and all of them?
They just get more and more like superhero.
Or what was that?
Quick and the Dead was Sharon Stone.
But
Russell Crowe's in that.
Crowe, he's the prisoner.
Yeah, he is.
Gene Hackman and
that's right.
And then
I think
Leonardo
the Young Guns 2
DiCaprio
came out in early 90s, 90 or 91.
Yeah.
So
there was a nice string of westerns.
Young Guns.
Young Guns.
It was a good movie.
That make your list?
It's actually about as historically accurate as Tombstone is, though.
Well, I didn't watch it for that. I could have watched Wyatt
He watched
Earp.
it for Emilio Estevez.
Right.
Young Guns is fun. It's fun. There's nothing wrong with a fun western. I was told I was going to be judged by my list. Don't judge me.
said that?
We're not judging you.
All right. Well, here, let's go right in because I'll start this third round here. I love this movie, and I don't care what it makes me feel terrified and intrigued all at the same time, and that's Signs. It made my list. I love the movie Signs. I've seen the movie Signs probably 300 times.
He's throwing M. Night Shyamalan a bone.
When I worked at the
more than The Sixth Sense, you like Signs better than The Sixth Sense?
Once you get the secret of Sixth Sense, like the movie to me lost all appeal. Like Haley Joel Osment was just boring and sort of anyway. The whole like
you're right.
The whole I don't know, the aliens. It's the aliens. It's always the aliens for me.
Mm-hmm.
And to me that's like the creepiest one. Not scary because honestly I can't handle scary aliens. It's
Did you hear the way he said that? I can't handle scary aliens.
Shut up, dude.
The suspenseful aliens.
Yeah, like when she's sitting there and she's like, I need a glass of water and there's a monster outside my window. And I'm terrified that my kid's going to come away.
So like when you see the leg in the corn and then it
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It gives me like chills and goosebumps. But it's far enough out of reality that I can drive home afterwards and not be terrified.
And that's the nice thing about Signs, though, is he did a good job of keeping that suspense. I'd say through probably almost 90% of the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
So
the cupboard scene when he's like, because who's not been like, I was talking about this before. Like when I vacuum out the furniture, this is a little probably more into my psyche than people really want to know. But like when I vacuum out the furniture at home. And I'm like, I don't know if it's clean or not. I need to put my hand between the cushions to find out if it's clean or not. Like, I have to mentally psych myself up to say, there is not a rat living in my couch. And when I put my hand on there, it is not going to bite my fingers. It's not going to. It's, I don't need to check today. No, you need to check. Make sure you got everything. Clean it right, Ryan. You can do it. There's not a rat down there. That's the way I feel like every time I clean the cushions. The same scene when he's sitting in the pantry and there's one trapped in the cupboard. When he's like, I want to see it. I got to see it. And then he's like, no, I don't need to see it. Just that tension that he builds within himself. Like I live that like all the time.
So Ryan avoids all doors that have a crack on the bottom to make sure that
he hates my house.
little hand doesn't come.
Sounds to me like you're just trying to get out of vacuuming.
There's a little bit of that. I'll do the vacuuming. I just don't want to check after. Or like when the kids are like, "Oh, the remote fell on the couch." I'm just like,
You get it.
You have smaller hands than I do. The rat will only take a finger, I promise. Like it's like the fear of the unknown. You know you have to do it, or you know you want to do it, or you know it drives you to. You can't just not do it, but you're terrified at the possibility of doing it. It's like my
So
honeymoon.
based on that, do you swim in lakes or oceans because of Jaws?
I don't even think about that. I love Jaws because of all the conversation they have on the boat. Like I'm not terrified of the shark like I am the aliens. Like I just love the characters in that story. And how there are like it's like three sides of a triangle. You have the know-it-all, the scaredy cat, and then like my dad. Like it's like that's like, and not necessarily my dad, but like the dad like figure. And I'm just
Mr. Hooper.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for blowing me out.
There you go.
Man.
I was just referring to the fact that you don't, the barrels are what how you know the shark is there.
You don't see the
until
shark.
It just pops up.
But that could be why I like both those movies so much, just because it really.
But see, the difference is though, M. Night Shyamalan probably did it for artistic reasons. Spielberg did it because the shark didn't work.
Right. That is like
practical reasons.
That is like the happiest accident
like the
on the planet. I mean, honestly, that movie. Did science make anybody else's list? No.
No.
Okay. All right. Well,
No. I did think about M. Night Shyamalan, and if anything, I should go on the list.
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable, great movie.
What was the one where was it called The Village?
Yeah.
People just like 17th century people, and it's just basically the other side of the fence is the freeway or something.
Right.
Like that.
Right. Again, one of those movies where you're like,
Well, I think at that point people were always like, "Where's the twist? Where's the twist?
Right.
Where's the twist?"
And then Lady in the Water that I don't even.
Paul Gilmartin found
a mermaid or something in the swimming pool.
Whatever. What did I say? G. Martin? Who's that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Made that
I
up.
like Paul Giamatti.
Doug, give me one off your list, Doug.
Let's go with let's go with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Ooh.
That almost made my list. It did.
There was
That
a
would
lot
be
of
an
debate.
honorable mention.
A lot of
Honorable.
debate in my house for that too as well.
There's a lot of good actors in that movie that get unnoticed.
A lot of good acting. Storyline with the symbolism behind everything as well.
Right.
And it's Jack Nicholson. I mean, come
Right.
on.
Nurse Ratchet.
Well, we had a lot of conversation about that in The Shining, and sort of like which one was better, and how.
Well, Cuckoo's Nest kind of had that twist because you're thinking Jack Nicholson, he's going to make it through the movie, and then at the end when Chief, suffocates him and then breaks out, it's like the ultimate freedom. The favorite line, juicy fruit. Best line in the whole movie.
That's awesome.
So it didn't make your list?
It didn't.
No,
it would
it
make
did-
my
it did
honorable
not.
mention though.
Okay. Mike, why don't you give me one?
Another one. Let's see. I'm just gonna go work my way down the list. Movie with Will Ferrell in it that isn't a normal Will Ferrell movie. Stranger Than Fiction. If you've never seen that movie, you need to see it.
I have not.
It's based on a French book, but basically it's a narrated story because of Will Ferrell's character comes to find out he is written. What?
Isn't that a major like spoiler?
It's not. No, the whole movie is about him being a character in this lady's book as she's writing the book, and he starts hearing her narration in his head that everything he's doing she's narrating, and come to find out that he comes to find her because she's written all these books about him, and it's been his life that she's written about, and it's told from the perspective, technically it's told from the perspective of his watch. You find that out at the beginning of the movie. Have you ever seen that?
Never seen it.
It's really, really good. You should check it out. It's got Maggie Gyllenhaal in it, and she plays this pretty cool character as well. So I love it. It kind of turns around to be a quirky comedy, but it's also this really, really good feel-good movie that at the end of the movie you really feel like you really care about the characters in the movie, and I could watch it over and over again.
Excellent.
Hyatt?
Let's see here. I will go with. Let's go ahead and let's do.
You've had like 10 minutes.
Well, I
Put
know.
your finger
I'm
on
trying
the
to. I'm trying to think of something other people might not have on their list. Although so far we haven't had much.
No,
crossover.
there hasn't been. So
I've
maybe
had
get
3
an obvious.
crossovers.
I'm going to go with The Princess Bride.
Good movie.
It's an honorable.
That would have to go on an honorable.
That is on my list.
It is.
it?
Yes.
Yeah, we got a
Yes.
twofer.
That
No,
is-
what can you say? I mean,
fantastic movie.
Marriage is what you said.
I mean, it's so many like little one-liners and things that come out of.
Do you want a peanut?
Yeah.
Inconceivable.
Yeah, it's almost a movie. It's almost a movie that you could watch with your kids and your kids can enjoy it, but it's an adult film. It's not like the reverse of a. It's a reverse of a Pixar movie kind of thing, where it's a kids movie that there's adult references in,
Right.
and that's why adults love those movies as well. But The Princess Bride is kind of an adult movie that kids can love
even
as
think
well.
I just think it's an ageless movie. I don't even think there's any.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
wouldn't
way to
say
put
it's
it.
I wouldn't say it's an adult movie. I mean, it's an IWoo movie.
It's a what?
It's an IWoo movie. It's a video.
IWoo.
It's a movie that IWoo students can watch.
No, that's the thing is anybody can watch it.
Indiana Wesleyan.
Indiana Wesleyan.
Anybody can watch that movie and find something to enjoy in it.
Yeah,
you know?
That is true.
There's a part somewhere in that movie that someone
You
will
whether
laugh at.
you want Columbo to
Yeah.
be the old crotchety
Peter
grandpa or Christopher Guest is fantastic as
Billy Crystal.
Or Fred
Billy
Savage.
Fred Savage.
Savage is the kid.
So, but I think it's quintessential a tie-in to the 80s.
True.
Is it? That's I think one of those quintessential 80s movies. So maybe for a kid of the 80s, that's why it maybe has a special
See, and I didn't
tie-in.
watch it as a kid. I didn't get to see it
Oh,
until I
really?
was in my 20s.
Really?
It was the first time I watched
Well,
it.
since we're talking about quintessential 80s movies, I'll jump down to number 14 on my list, and that is E.T.
Oh, I have that on my list too.
Did not make mine.
And that was
It was
Honorable
actually
mention for me.
It was number 20 on my list.
It's an alien movie. I had to limit my alien movies, but because that's a movie that I watch now with my kids, that I also remember watching a lot as a kid. It's obviously raised its stock considerably.
I haven't
And-
watched that with Jules yet.
Just for the record, E.T. is a Jedi.
He is absolutely.
That's true.
Cole, he recognizes Yoda.
Well, he's in.
Yeah,
the same.
that's pretty funny. The
But when you watch E.T. with Julia,
Yeah.
watch the Halloween scene. There's a kid dressed as E.T. or
Yeah.
as Yoda, and he flips out over. He's like,
home,
Yeah,
home,
home.
and they're even playing Yoda's theme behind it real quick.
yeah,
And
it's-
I know that scene, and then there's the scene in episode 1 with
Right.
where they're in there,
Right.
where their same alien species is in the Senate.
yeah.
But all the things that E.T. can do, bringing the flower back to life, the bicycle in the air, those are all consistent with Jedi powers.
even like breaking the communication barrier. Like they become force linked.
But even the fact that they're going around different planets trying to collect different vegetation, that'd be consistent with Dagobah's environment.
I wonder if he
Yeah.
is. I wonder if he is Darth Plagueis because he connects. He connects.
That's
his,
Jar Jar. What are you talking
He
about?
connects
No.
his force. He connects his spirit, his life spirit, to Elliot's in an attempt to maintain his own life support. Because as he's dying, Elliot is dying. It's exactly what that happened to Amidala. Anyway,
I would say that E.T. is he is a quintessential. He is the essence of a Jedi, in my mind.
If he would have his
Everything
lightsaber,
he's
wouldn't
completely
need-
selfless.
True.
Completely selfless.
That's a
Um,
good point.
Do you want to give another movie there, Doug?
Yeah, let's go with a comedy here. I'm going to go with 16 Candles.
Ooh, I just watched that yesterday.
That's on my.
That was
That's on
on-
my
that-
shame.
That's for me, because I don't know how old you guys are. I'm 40, so just to throw that out there. I mean, I've
It's all right. You're forgiven.
grown up with that movie. That's one of the most quotable movies. That's probably one of other than Airplane, I think 16 Candles for me is probably one of the most quotable movies of all time. And Caddyshack.
Dong.
Okay.
Where is my
Caddyshack?
automobile?
Caddyshack was on my list, but I bumped it for another movie. But
That's awesome.
my wife and I were talking about 16 Candles. Was it on anybody else's list?
No.
It didn't make it on my list. But,
No.
it was one that I had to sort of admit to being my list of shame. So she was like, for my birthday next year, because she's turning 40 in February. She's turning something in February.
It's just so funny, especially with Anthony Michael Hall and his friends. It's not like they're even acting. They did such a good job with it. It's almost like Yeah, he's like, just talk about stuff, and I'll film it.
John
So-
Cusack. is in that.
So I took a different John Hughes film. I took Breakfast Club because that is one that I have seen that I do love. That I felt like, if you're talking like quintessential like high school films, like that was big for me. So I did have that was actually number 10 on my list. But hopefully, if we do this again after February, I'll be able to maybe sub that out for 16 Candles or add them both on my list. So
Why?
because when we were talking about it at home, I talked all this stuff because my son is actually sick today.
Yeah.
So I went to my parents for Thanksgiving today, and then come home afterwards and was like, "Hey, I got this list that I was brainstorming. Why don't you tell me what you thought?" So I had Breakfast Club written down on my brainstorming list. She was like, "Oh, 16 Candles is better, don't you think so?" And I had to tell her that I haven't seen it. So she made me promise to watch it for her birthday, but as sort of talking about it, she was like, Breakfast Club is good, and sure, I understand why you like it, but 16 Candles is better. And
You didn't say earlier you haven't seen it. It's
16 Candles? No, I said it was on my list of shame. I'm sorry, that's what I meant.
List of
okay.
He has a list of shame.
I thought you meant
I
list
do-
of shame as like you were
Like
liking-
embarrassed to-
Yeah,
to-
yeah.
Oh, no,
yeah.
no. I'm sorry. There's like 4.
That's the way I took that.
There's like, after talking with my wife, there's like 4 or 5 movies that are now on my list of shame that I have to, just essentially my homework now to make sure I get them watched as soon as possible.
It's hard to go wrong with any John Hughes movie.
That's
Right.
true.
They strike a chord. Do you want to give a movie?
Yeah. Another one that is probably only on my list. Movie that is a holiday movie that most people.
Scrooged.
Nope.
Groundhog Day.
Christmas Vacation.
Nope. Not
say
a normal holiday movie.
Like when you say
but,
holiday, do you mean Christmas?
Yes. It is The Family Man with Nicolas Cage.
Right. That's not
You
it.
never seen that? Oh,
No.
man.
I have seen the Beast of Burden shower scene like 4 times.
Yeah. Tay Leone plays his wife. And Tay Leone isn't like a super attractive woman, I would say, but at the same
she makes
time,
a hot mom.
She makes a hot mom, man. In that movie, the movie basis is basically it kind of Scrooge kind of idea. Very rich and powerful guy who kind of missed out on this chance to
It's
fall
not
in
even
love.
like kind of the
with-
same idea. It is a retelling of Scrooge.
Kind of no, because there aren't 3 ghosts that come to see him or anything.
It's a retelling of like It's a Wonderful Life, sort of.
He goes. He wakes up one morning and there's an angel that does come and see him and lets
Is
him.
it Morgan
he
Freeman?
Live. No, it's Don
Oh.
Cheadle,
They should have got Morgan
the
Freeman.
younger Morgan Freeman. But Don Cheadle comes and sees him and turns him. And he wakes up then Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And he's married and has kids and he's working for his wife's dad and all this stuff and comes to realize that he is really super happy with his life.
The beginning of the movie
Okay.
though is like classic Nick Cage, whiny Nick Cage. But my car is not in the
Yeah,
driveway.
Not a Nick
Yeah.
Cage.
Speaking of that,
Really?
have you watched what
He is, though. It's weird.
happened or the death of Superman Lives?
fan. Yeah, I saw that
Yeah.
a couple days ago.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. You need to watch it.
Yeah, you should.
The Death of Superman Lives.
Yeah, they talk about the Nick Cage Superman
It's
movie.
like a documentary.
Yeah,
Does it talk about Kevin Smith? Is he in
yeah,
it?
Yeah.
he's in it.
Because he was part writer.
Yeah,
on it or
he,
something like that.
one of the early drafts.
Does it
Yeah,
talk
one-
about the
the
big
first draft.
spider?
Yeah.
The big spider
Well,
thing
that-
ends
that-
up in Wild Wild
And
West.
it clears
Maybe
a
I've
lot
seen
up
this.
about the whole spider.
You
thing.
saw The Night with Kevin Smith, where he.
Well, I
where
went
he-
and saw Kevin Smith live, and he talked about a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
It was part of his shtick for a while, I think.
yeah. No,
Doug-
it's really good.
Doug Hyatt.
Okay.
I still feel
Let's
like
see
there's
here.
a lot on my list here that should be on everybody's list. Like
I'm going to go with. I'm going to do one that's probably only on my list, and I put it in the top
everybody
20.
wants to be special.
It's maybe a movie that I would not watch every time it's on TV, but it's a movie that I think needs to go in the top 20 because
you need a higher
it's a good.
appreciation for television.
It's a what?
This is one of your top favorite movies, and you're not going to watch it every time it's on.
Because it's kind of and it's an intense kind of classic movie.
So that sort of the journey I was talking about
So
before.
12 Angry Men.
I've got that.
You got it?
Yeah.
Awesome. What a fantastic movie. I love it. Was a play originally. Loved
Right.
it, and I can't remember where I first read the play, but fantastic movie. Did Henry Fonda? Did he win an Oscar for
I
that
don't
movie?
I think he was nominated. I don't know if he won.
But if you have not seen it, you should definitely watch it. Fantastic movie.
a lot of great
The
actors
first
in that
one?
one.
Yeah. What's that?
The first one of it.
If they've made another...
Well, there's one in 57, and there's one in 97.
57.
Okay.
Yeah, it's black and white.
Henry Fonda, Lee J. Cobb.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, excellent movie. Well, sorry to steal your thunder on that one.
No, that's all right.
But-
I'm glad someone else agreed with that because
Yeah.
I agree. It's such a classic movie. The whole story behind it, how he's kind of a rogue standalone, but stands his ground.
That's how I was
he doesn't
jury
give in to the
duty
group
earlier
think.
this year.
Right.
Yeah.
And it plays off of that. There's a dynamic in it of somebody that kind of empathizes with the
Accused.
that he wants it to be. He wants it to be his. I don't want to give too much away, but he wants it to be his way, and he's pulling everybody along with him. But Henry Fonda stands up to the groupthink, and
I have seen that.
You've seen it.
Yeah. There's all kinds of these, like you said, different dynamic personalities where the whole movie takes place in a jury room.
I think Burgess Meredith is in it too, isn't he?
No, I don't
Is
think
he?
so.
Let's see. Martin Basalm, John Fielder, Lee J. Cobb, E.J. Marshall, Jack Klugman,
Yeah, I know
Edward
he's in.
Benz, Jack Warden, Henry Fonda, Joseph Sweeney, Ed Begley, George
Junior or senior?
George Voskovec, and
Maybe he's not.
Robert Weber. Those are the 12 jurors.
Yeah.
But you've got about 3 strong personalities, all different, bumping heads. You've got some that are just kind of go with the flow.
Right.
You got one guy who just wants it to be over with. He's like, I don't
Right.
care how we vote. Let's just get this over with. I got things to do, type of things. And Henry Fonda's like, no, just calm down. Let's go. Let's go through this. Kid's life's in our hands here.
Right.
So it's like you said, you have to see it.
He's the Ryan Parrott
That's
of,
right, the jury
of the
duty.
jury duty.
No,
So, all right.
Indiana Jones is on my list.
got that.
Now-
on my
now-
list too.
On mine.
So okay, let's
Fourth
start.
one doesn't count.
Yeah, exactly.
1 through
Thank you.
3. Yes.
1 through 3, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Let me asterisk.
Yeah, so Star
that one
Wars and
too.
Indiana Jones is so far the only thing.
What's the best Indiana Jones movie?
First one?
First one. Raiders.
I'm a Last Crusade.
So am I.
I just think we got this angle of the table locked down. I mean, Raiders. There was nothing else like it. It's the perfect origin story. That's not the origin.
See, I guess the reason I like it so much is because there's not too many. It's not like Indiana Jones and Company, kind of like Crusade is. He's
Yeah.
got his dad and all that kind. It's kind of like
Right.
him. I mean, he's got Sala and meets different people, different
Dates.
places in the movie.
Bad dates.
We hang out too much.
I mean, Last Crusade is definitely a close second, but I've just got to go with the it's kind of more nostalgic reasons, I guess. Just seeing it for the first time on the big screen and just being introduced to that character.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's one.
the guy with the swords that he shoots with a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the perfect scene.
Yeah.
And getting your face melted off.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the whole theory that if Indiana Jones wasn't there, he wasn't needed for any of it anyway.
And the ending is just classic. You just can't seeing that, the walking down the National Archives with the Ark of the Covenant there and the music at the end. The mystery arc theme to it.
The beginning and end of that movie is classic. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times has it been parodied to have a big rolling ball coming after you?
UHF has to do the best parody.
Yeah, UHF does a good job with that. That movie, does that make your list?
No, but it's an honorable mention.
That's a good movie. With Kramer,
No, I agree.
the fire hose.
Oh,
The start of that
that's a good
movie
movie.
is. I don't know if you could get a much better start of a movie.
No, it's almost like a James Bond intro.
Right.
It's just, it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the rest of the movie. It's just a great intro.
Well, I was
Right.
just saying, to be honest, if you could, I don't know if this is true or not, but I mean, almost they could have filmed that sequence and have him flying away, and that's like a short film that would have sold the rest of the
Right.
series.
Right.
That right there would have been enough to be like, okay, this is the concept we have. Give us enough money to make 1,000 more movies. And I think there's nobody on the planet would have said
They
no.
might have done that.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the way it feels. It almost feels like it's a short that they were like, okay, now we can extend this.
Right.
Plus, you got that coming right off the back of Empire Strikes Back, which came out in '80, and then Raiders comes out in '81, and Harrison Ford was just like the coolest guy ever. So just to see him.
Still is.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean.
It's 73. come back for next week for that. I'm gonna pop a few off these lists here. See if we can't off my list. Then maybe we can do like 3 or 4 at a time here, and that way we'll. Because I just don't want to run out of time.
Okay, we're good.
Go.
Sorry, I lost my sound here. Waiting for Government. Anybody on anybody's list?
Nope.
Okay, that's a movie you guys should check out, especially if you're doing theater, drama.
Is that Christopher Guest?
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
I love it. Memento.
Not on mine.
Good movie.
Good movie, but not on my list.
Did you hear they're going to remake it?
Really?
Yes. I guess I can't remember what studio, but some other studio bought the rights to it and a lot of other movies, and they want to redo it. Why? I don't understand why they want to.
I did hear they're redoing it. I never.
How about Exorcist? Does it make anybody else's list?
I had it on, but I took it off. It was on there. It just got bumped.
All right, that's fine.
Great movie.
Yes.
Still the scariest movie of all time.
Usual Suspects.
Nope.
No, but Kaiser Sose.
I'm striking out hardcore here. Okay, then I'll pass the ball here a little bit. Doug, we want to get a few off yours?
Okay. Let's do Godfather 1 and 2.
No, honorable mentions.
Okay.
Definitely.
Where's your writing utensil, Ryan?
Sorry.
Okay, Godfather, Braveheart.
Did not make my list.
No.
Almost, but didn't.
I bumped it for Saving Private Ryan.
I bumped it for Gladiator.
And I'll do a comedy, Monty Python, and The Holy Grail.
Not on mine.
It is on my... It's third on my honorable mention list. I actually bumped it for Something About Mary. Only because we had to watch it with my mother. Because Doug Hyatt and I had to sit in the theater with my mother right beside me as Ben Stiller is looking at the sales ad. And Doug and I are both like high school age boys sitting right beside my mother being like, I don't know.
I thought it was hilarious watching Ryan react to his mom as
I don't know
Ben
what he's
Stiller.
doing. Somebody's going to have to explain this to me. I don't get this whole scene. What's happening here, Mom? I don't get it. So
Ryan's just cringing and his mom's just laughing.
like, not just laughing.
Yeah,
It's like
I've heard
cackle.
mom cackle.
But
yeah,
you have
gets
to.
into it.
I put Holy Grail in there because I think my senior year of high school,
We probably watched that a million times.
between Mystery Science Theater and the Holy, I think every weekend I watched at least one or two Mystery Science Theaters and the Holy Grail,
or both.
So at one time I probably knew that movie from start to finish.
Monty Python, yeah. I would even say that there seems to be a little bit of Monty Python influence in The Princess Bride in some ways.
Yeah.
My favorite, going back to The Princess Bride, my favorite line is when they're storming the castle and he goes, "Give me the gate key." He goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." He goes, "Fezzik, break his arms." "Oh, you mean this gate key?"
Yeah.
That's to me that's Monty Python right there.
Message for your son.
Yeah, that was my
Give us a
for
couple
my
more.
text message. Okay. Let's see here. Kurosawa, The Seven Samurai. If you are a Quentin Tarantino fan or most modern Western fan, go watch that movie. I mean, it's the foundation for.
I almost put Kill Bill on my list, but it didn't make it.
No.
so.
Pulp Fiction beat Kill Bill, and then something else beat Pulp Fiction.
I've got Pulp Fiction.
I have Pulp Fiction.
Oh,
So-
well, let's talk about Pulp Fiction real quick.
Okay.
All three of you have Pulp Fiction?
No,
I
it's on my honorable mention list.
I was lucky enough to just get to watch that movie again last week because Sarah had never seen it, my wife. And that's fun. It always is fun to see classic movies that you know are just fantastic and almost everyone loves.
It's fun to call Pulp Fiction a classic movie.
It is a classic
Yeah,
movie.
it's weird.
It is though. Really, I mean,
Mr. Clooney has never introduced the movie on
it
AMC
makes
or TMC.
it makes like the whatever the film. What's the film thing? I can never think of it. The
AFI.
Yeah, the AFI top 100 movies.
Right.
It's in like the top 20 movies of all time.
I'm not doubting it. It is a phenomenal
But
movie.
it is fun to see that movie, to watch someone. You don't get that chance very often to for her to not even get any of the references, like didn't even know the references to the movie,
right?
To watch that movie with her was really, really fun because she's never seen.
Was there a little bit like, oh, that's where that comes from?
Yeah, she had a couple of those, and suddenly there's a meme going around now where they're putting the scene with John Travolta where he's in the house waiting on Mia, and she kind of looks around to find the intercom. Like they're putting him like confused in a bunch of different scenes now, and it's really, really funny. It just happened.
He's
to start
looking for
popping.
Adele Dazeem, is why.
Yeah.
You get that reference?
No, not at all.
When John Travolta messed up the woman's name who sings Let It Go or whatever.
Okay.
The lovely and talented Adele, and it's like Adina Menzel or something. He's like Adele Dazeem. Yeah. Good job, Travolta. Good job.
Nobody noticed.
Did any of you guys see Pulp Fiction when it originally came out? Were you old enough to see it then?
I don't.
It came out in '94, and I was 12.
No.
Okay, that ages me too because I was in college.
It came out in '94. Yeah.
I saw it as soon as it hit Video Store because I was working at the time. So,
if I had to make an analogy, it would be like Nirvana or Pearl Jam, what they did to the music scene. That's what Tarantino did for movies.
Yeah.
Around that time. I mean, Reservoir Dogs, very, very good movie as well. But Pulp Fiction, just its style. I mean, it was John Travolta's big comeback. It was Samuel L. Jackson's big breakout role.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way the film was made. It was just so out there and different than anything else.
My wife just texted me Office Space and Revenge of the Nerds, so she must know that we're still.
Office
She's not
Space.
listening
What a
live.
great movie! What a great movie!
But it's
great comedy.
Revenge of the Nerds is a good movie too.
Yeah. Speaking of Tarantino, I know it because I love Django Unchained.
It's really good.
It's awful, but the scene where they
the
hood. Oh my god, that is so funny when they're going in.
That?
I haven't seen it.
You need to watch Django Unchained. It is great.
Just understand, it's as historically accurate as
not even in the house.
It's the same.
I wouldn't. No, that's any Tarantino movie with the kids.
But Leonardo DiCaprio is so good in that movie. The role that he plays
is really good.
They just do such a good job in that movie.
Supposedly, there's a scene where he does something and he cuts his hand.
And that was real.
And it was real, and they just played through it, and his blood splattered all over the actress and stuff, and it's pretty crazy. When you see the scene and then you realize that it's real, you're like, oh, man.
That's like in Lord of the Rings, in the Two Towers, when Aragorn kicks the helmet.
Yeah, didn't he break his foot?
He actually broke his toes when he kicked, and he gives this scream, of disappointment, because he thinks they're dead, and then you realize he broke his toe, and that's actually real pain when he's screaming.
It's like when episode 7 when Harrison Ford broke his leg when the door fell on it, and they kept it in the
okay. Yeah.
Well, and we obviously haven't had a chance to talk movies or anything previous to this, but were you aware that the Django character is based off old
1970?
Westerns?
There's like
character
a
named
black
Django.
exploitation film,
but none of those guys dressed as Prince in the Old West.
It's funny to poke fun.
I'm ready to see his new film.
Yeah, what is that?
Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
Who are we on? You give me a few, or do you want to give me a few off your list?
Doug, go ahead.
I'll give you a few, and these are going to be all over the place. I'm going to get flack for this one. The Karate Kid, the original.
There's no flack for that.
Sorry.
Doesn't make my list.
Great movie.
It is a good movie.
It's the kids' version of Rocky.
It's a hero's.
And that's what it was meant to be when it was made. I mean, same
you mean the original one, right? Not the
original. Yeah.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Have you ever seen the video where they change it and make Daniel the bully?
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
I think I might have posted that.
Maybe, but
it's all about perspective because they did a good job of making him out to be like he's the one provoking the fights and he's the one picking on the Cobra Kai guys. But
I mean, he's the one that goes in the bathroom and puts the hose. I mean,
again, I was around to see that one in the theater when it came out. So
Johnny's just sitting there trying to roll joints.
8 or 9 years old. Yeah.
He didn't need to get a hose of water dumped on him. I mean, he's just minding his own business.
And I don't know any kid or any of my friends that after they saw that movie worn out in the backyard practicing the crane kick.
Right.
Even I was younger, so I mean, I grew. I mean, it was wax on, wax off. It's been my whole life.
Yeah,
that's true. There's a great song called "Sweep the Leg."
Really?
I can't remember the name of the group. Search it out. It's good. It's from Johnny's point of view.
Yeah.
Called "Sweep the Leg." Yeah, it's really good.
That's funny.
That is one of
Okay.
those.
Body
That is one
bag.
of those quintessential though '80s movies.
All right, then we have Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah,
That's one anytime it's on TV, which
Yep.
is every day, I'll watch it.
That's,
Yep.
It
that's
starts to drain.
honorable on
oh,
me.
man.
I should have
watch
put-
Red's Journey again.
I should have put when who the old man. That's so sad.
Brooks.
Like, you and Brooks, they let him go.
Yeah,
You know.
just wasn't able to adapt.
Yeah.
And that's true. A lot of those guys that spend years in prison, they're not, and like military guys, a lot of them just
Yeah.
aren't able to cope and adapt.
Come back from that.
Okay, this one was an adaptation. Probably one of the best movie adaptations from a book was Wizard of Oz, and I only say that because even though it's based off the book, it stands alone strongly as its own entity.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's
We watched it
you
today.
know, on Rotten Tomatoes, it is like of all the genres, it's number one.
What? Wizard of Oz?
Wizard of Oz.
But I still want to know how the Scarecrow got the gun. Have you ever seen it? When
No.
they're heading to the witch's castle, Scarecrow's holding a pistol.
Is he?
Yes, he is.
I've
never
seen
noticed that.
I've seen the stills of the hanging person in the back and stuff like that.
Pretty
but-
sure
Doesn't
that's
it have like a
debunked,
Tommy.
though,
Did the Tin Man have a Tommy gun too?
No, it was like it was some kind of witch begone type spray.
Oh yeah, that's okay. But
Like
it
sprinkle-
had.
Oh,
it kinda
yeah,
looked
But
like
in that
that.
same, but in that same scene, and you can see still pictures of it. Scarecrow's clearly holding a pistol.
That's
You didn't see
awesome.
it
never
before or
noticed that.
after that.
I've never noticed that.
Sure does. There he is. It's like a
What?
toy pistol.
Let me see. Well, I'll look at it when we're done.
That's crazy.
Who in the hell
Then
gives
I've got-
Scarecrow a gun?
Then I've got Psycho
Yeah.
for obvious reasons.
That was one that was on my top horror section.
Yep.
And my last one I'll go with here would be Star Trek 2.
Wrath of Khan.
Con.
I don't include all the Star Trek movies in that series, but Star Trek 2 by far.
There are only two Star Trek movies: Wrath of Khan, and then First Contact.
First Contact. If you're picking two Star Trek movies, First Contact is the other one.
The new movies are really
With the
good.
Borg.
I know what First
Yeah,
Contact
that's
is.
what do you think is better?
I don't know. I just kind of I'm surprised that First Contact would be.
Well, there was only one good from the original cast, Wrath of Khan, and there's only one good from the Next
I like
Generation
Nemesis.
cast, which is First Contact.
Star Trek.
Nemesis is rated pretty high, I think.
I like
Yeah.
Nemesis.
Star Trek 6 was pretty good. The only problem, well, there's
Six
two
is
problems.
what?
The Undiscovered
Journey Home?
Country.
No. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Undiscovered Country.
They were.
That's
so-
not the one
they
with
were so
God,
old by that
where they're
point.
going looking for God. Is
No,
it?
that was 5. Undiscovered Country is when the Klingon
that.
got
That's
assassinated.
was that with Christopher Plumer,
Right,
Who's
yeah.
okay? Yeah, that one's not bad.
But the same director of Star Trek 2, but still tried to use the literary references like he did with the Khan character, which
Right.
kind of diminished it a little bit, but still pretty good.
He was no Ricardo Montalban.
Hey
There's-
guys.
there's
We're
Eggs
not
Benedict
doing Wrath of
Cumberbatch.
Khan. We're not
Right.
doing Wrath of Khan. We're doing Wrath of Khan. Just kidding.
Hey guys, they're not dead. They're not dead. They're not in purgatory.
Just kidding. They are.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like we've hit.
I've still got more movies.
and I'm surprised. So do I.
Well, let's keep going.
Let's
Well, I'm
keep
just-
going.
I'm just-
Let's
no,
not
just-
talk
just
about
get-
how
just-
long we're
yeah.
going. Let's just keep going.
I'm not talking about how long we're going. I'm just making an
You're
observation.
talking about how long we're going.
I feel
How many?
like
Okay, go.
Did you give 2 or 3?
I gave 1, 2, 3, 4.
4
5.
that time?
All
Okay.
right, Ryan, go.
Okay, well, these are the ones that I have left on my list. Dances with Wolves.
Very good.
Because I
Not as good as The Postman, but a good movie.
Speaking of Kevin Costner, and Waterworld is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Beeper.
Peeper, peeper. Have you ever seen so much peeper? Smell it, touch it. 30 minutes. The river runs through it. I know it's not Brad Pitt or whatever. I just love the story of the brothers, and it was something I saw fly fishing as a recreation, and it led me to fly fish, and it was an interesting. It's not really a great movie, but visually and personally, it was something I enjoyed. And then my last 2 movies are animated movies that I love a whole bunch.
Toy Story.
The first one is Iron Giant.
Oh yeah, you really did like that movie.
Because I love the Iron Giant. Vin Diesel's breakout role. It trained him to be in Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's true.
And then a movie that honestly I don't know what it is about it, but every time we watch it, it was one that I watched a lot with Noah. And I went back and forth between Cars or Lion King or something like that. But every time Hiccup gets on that stupid dragon and they take off for the first time, I feel like I'm on a speeder bike going through the forest of Endor. Like my eyes well up. I honestly, I have no problem saying that I cry every time in How to Train Your Dragon, and that was going to wrap up my 20. There's just something about a lot of these movies, watching them with my kids or my family, that has changed, and a lot of them just as I've grown up with the movies, and I've learned to adapt them better. Does anybody have any of those movies on their list?
No.
See, what I'm saying. That's what I
good.
thought we'd have more commonality.
All right, I'm gonna go.
Okay.
All right.
I still have like 10 left. How did I get skipped?
I already said Lord of the Rings. Does anybody else have Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings.
I actually pulled Lord of the Rings off, and I put the original Rankin Bass The Hobbit on because that's the movie that I make the connection with.
Okay.
Did you have any of them on there?
I didn't know.
Okay.
You, sir. Mako. No, I'm joking.
One of my favorite movies, again, a classical movie, but I would watch it anytime it's on TV, even though it's never on TV, A Man for All Seasons. If you don't know what it is, you should go watch it.
Doug watched a lot of AMC and TMC.
I did watch a lot of when it was actually classic movies. Another war movie, The Longest Day. If you've got 4 hours to blow, watch it. But I love that movie.
I was trying to find a John Wayne movie I could put on.
Patton, right under The Longest Day. You get another war movie if you got another 3 or 4 hours. And then one that I'm surprised nobody else has said yet, but maybe on one of these guys' lists, Back to the Future.
I've got it
on my list.
Not on your list, Ryan?
I had it on my thing, but to me, it's a phenomenal movie. It's a great story. It's a great.
I put it as the trilogy. I put the whole trilogy.
Right, I did too.
I was trying to put it down because.
What are your whole trilogy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I just love 3 so much. I have a hard time.
Was any of the Back to the Futures on your list?
They're all. It's on. I have it on my own lists, and I have it written.
I can't believe for you that's not on.
I know,
your top 20.
And I have a lot of connection with the movie.
That movie to me is quintessential 80s, and as far as story and flow, to me it's a flawless movie.
We just talked about this a couple episodes ago, but it is. I mean, the first Back to the Future movie, most people consider it to, I guess in the movie industry, consider the first one to be basically like the perfect, at least the script to be the perfect movie script.
In that documentary we watched,
right?
Out of Time. There's a documentary on Netflix called Out of Time, and it's all about the different parts of the movies and stuff like that, and how it's connected with people. It starts off talking about the DeLorean and stuff like that. But go check it out if you. It's a pretty good documentary.
And here are my last 3. Terminator 2.
Ooh. Great movie. I forgot about that one.
True Grit.
Good movie.
Don't care if it's the original or the new one. They're both good. Yeah. So of course I love John Wayne, but the remake was fantastic. And the last one on my list, Silence of the Lambs.
Another great one. Honorable mention, definitely.
On mine.
And my honorable mentions that I just jotted down: Blazing Saddles, Moulin Rouge, and Big Fish.
Ooh, that's a good movie. Big Fish.
Let's go to Mike, and he can do maybe 5 of them. Then we'll come back to Doug, and then Mike can do the last 5.
I'm done.
Other Doug.
Other Doug.
Doug 2.
Well, I thought you were pointing at me when you said.
No, I just wanted to break up Mikey's 10.
Not Blazing Saddles didn't make my list, but Young Frankenstein did.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is a fantastic film, in my opinion. It feels a lot. It has a lot more moments that I'm hysterically laughing at more than Blazing Saddles, in my opinion. I think maybe because I'm a Stooge guy.
Yeah.
So I love the Three Stooges, and there's a lot of physical, like, stupid humor in that movie that is kind of a Stooge-esque comedy that I really enjoy compared to the different style of Blazing Saddles. So both fantastic movies. Blazing Saddles would be an honorable mention on mine.
Spaceballs.
Clerks.
Yeah.
Clerks did not make anybody else's
No.
list. No. That I love that movie. That hits a point with me. Kevin Smith movies, I've always liked. Really, every single movie he's ever put out. I've always liked.
Did you ever see
everything
Red
he's
State?
done. No, I haven't seen
It's
Red
streaming
State.
right now. You need to watch Red State. It's really good.
Okay, I'll check. I've got a list of my movies that I need to watch.
Your homework.
Here. Yeah. A movie that actually came out last year that to be honest with you, I've only watched once, but I can already tell you I will watch it again and again and again. It's the only war movie on my list, and that's Fury. That
haven't seen
movie.
it.
Oh man, that movie. Ask your brother. That movie is so good that the characters in that movie, you get this Saving Private Ryan feel, but you get more of a grit to it. Like it's like there's a scene in it where they're in a tank. They're a group of guys that are running a tank, and there's a scene where there's a dead guy in the road, and they just run over him because it's war. They don't care. It's World War II, and they're just on a mission, and and it just shows stuff like that, and you don't kind of think about that stuff, and just the camaraderie between the guys, the best job they've ever had kind of thing. Like they say that a lot in the movie, and it is a fantastic movie. Everyone in it. Shia LaBeouf. I mean, I can't believe a Shia LaBeouf movie made my top 20 list, but it is so good.
At what point does the tank transform into an Autobot and help?
Right.
No?
No, never.
Does the
Shane-
tank have robotic balls?
That doesn't make it into that.
Shane from The Walking Dead is in that movie too.
One that I thought would maybe make your guys' list is Master and Commander.
It's actually, yes, it's on my list. It's on my honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
Angie talked me out of it.
What?
I watched it in a theater.
That movie is so good. Opening scene, one of the best. Like,
Are you going to watch the Moby Dick movie with me?
with
With Thor?
Oh, that's good. That
With
looks
Chris
like a good
Hemsworth.
movie.
That looks awesome, does it not? Like, it's
Have
not
you seen
hard
him?
to see or
Have
something
you
like
seen
that?
him?
What is it
That what he
supposed to?
did?
Well, how is it supposed to be related to Moby Dick? Is
It's
it
supposed to be
like
what
a,
inspired the story for
Yeah.
Moby
Okay.
Dick.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I did. I was like, are they remaking Moby Dick? Doesn't look right.
Yeah.
I'm sad that
And why is the whale like 500 feet long?
I'm sad. I'm
and
sad.
mad.
Yeah.
I'm sad that Master and Commander didn't do as well as it should have in box offices, because that's the reason that they didn't make the other movies.
Right, 'cause
that go along with that.
Those are awesome books.
Well, probably
Yeah.
because they went to the Galapagos Islands or something and watched the guy get birds. Isn't that like part of the movie?
Yes, that's part of the movie. The doctor.
But it's all like the choice about
on that ship.
friendship and duty. Friendship and
Yeah,
duty. It's
I
the
don't
whole
know.
theme of the whole movie.
It's fantastic. So that leaves me with 1, 2, 3, 4 left on my list.
All right.
So Doug, you want to go?
All right, I'm just going to finish off my list here. I want to say this one because I just crossed off Step Brothers for this one. And it's not even in the same genre at all, but L.A. Confidential.
Ooh.
Oh, that is a great movie.
That one just popped in my head when we're talking about twists and turns.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love 1940s Los Angeles-based movies. You've got that. You've got Black Dahlia. You've got Hollywoodland and all that stuff. But
What was
LA Confidential was just...
What was that game? LA Noir? What
Yeah.
was-
That was
Did you play that game?
I haven't played it, but
wasn't that like a Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah,
But it was-
but
it
it's
was
based
really
in the
good.
1940s,
Okay.
like LA. It's pretty
It's
cool.
all about the GI housing.
Yeah,
But yeah, very, very good movie. Then we have Dead Poet Society.
that made my wife's list.
Good one there. To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh yeah,
That would be an honorable mention on mine.
yeah.
I just haven't seen it long enough. It was one that we came back to and we talked a lot about. But I feel like I haven't watched it since like
It's been
Mr. Beamer's
it's been quite a
12th
few
grade
years.
English class.
Which I do have to mention, an honorable mention along the same lines of To Kill a Mockingbird is A Time to Kill. Another great movie.
Oh yeah, they're both in Mississippi, aren't they?
Is that the one with
Oh
Samuel
my
L.
God!
Jackson?
I just thought of when you said
No, is that
Mississippi.
that's the client.
Mississippi Burning's a good
you
one.
said Mississippi, and I just thought of a movie that should have been on my top 20.
What's that?
Oh brother, where art thou?
Yeah.
Really, on your top 20?
I love every time that movie's on. I watch it. I can't believe I didn't think of that. Anyway,
Here's
sorry.
your pen. Here's your pen.
Last two, we've got Rocky and Unforgiven, which I already mentioned earlier when we were talking about Westerns. But
Rocky should have been on my top 22.
Rocky's
say-
a really good
top
movie.
When you say
22?
Rocky, you mean
the first one.
Your top 22?
You know, Creed.
I want to see that.
Supposed to
Yeah.
be. supposed to be really good.
It's been getting great ratings from what I understand.
But it's Apollo's son, right?
Right.
Is that the way it's supposed to work?
Maybe they'll...
I'm not sure the timeline is right, though, right? I mean, if he was to be born...
How old is this?
Apollo
How old is
died,
this?
It's got to be in his early 20s.
I guess he'd be... Yeah, I guess that's right.
When did Apollo... that's why I was trying to think timeline. When would that have happened?
He died in 4.
Which was
1980.
Igor killed him.
Okay, yeah.
But who's to say Creed's set
in 2015? Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
I think it is.
Stallone's face
probably
kind of
is.
tells us when it's set.
I like the last Rocky movie.
Rocky Balboa, I thought
Yeah.
was it should have been Rocky 2, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was a very good throwback to the original Rocky as far as,
I liked it.
Okay,
the
Mike, what you got left?
Movie that I'm probably maybe you guys have seen, The 25th Hour or 25th Hour. Edward Norton. He plays a guy who gets busted for drugs in New York, and it's his last night on the town. Barry Pepper's in it. I can't think of his name. Philip Seymour Hoffman is in it. Really good movie of just this kind of last kinship between his friends and stuff like that. It's a pretty neat movie. It's got a style to it that I really, really enjoy, and I can watch over and over again. Another John Cusack movie made my list of Grosse Point Blank.
Oh, I was going to predict that.
That movie is so good. There's just a quirkiness about it that I can just watch it over and over again, and I just love it. Let's see. Royal Tenenbaums made my list. Wes Anderson, his style of his movies and stuff like that,
I was just gonna say Grand Budapest Hotel
is so good, but the Royal Tenenbaums has this play-esque to it, and with Danny Glover and Gene Hackman, and just their back and forth in it, and the Wilson brothers that are in it, and I mean, it's just it's a fantastic movie. It's got this I guess when I start looking at my list, there's just styles of a type of movie that I really, really enjoy.
It's kind of an artsy.
Yeah.
Artsy,
So,
quirky, yeah.
Royal Tenenbaums. Yeah, Rushmore, that same Wes Anderson.
Election.
And then that's not a Wes Anderson movie.
It's a good movie.
Who does that, though?
It's a good movie, though.
Yeah.
And then the last one on my list makes it because it's a movie I watch every single year on Christmas Eve, but it is a fantastic movie that every time it's on TV I'll watch, is When Harry Met Sally. That movie is so good.
I got it. It's a good movie. I thought for sure you were going to say Christmas Vacation.
No,
that's on my list.
But When Harry Met Sally, it just happened to be on the first year that we had our daughter, and her first Christmas as we were wrapping presents, and it's become a tradition for us to watch that movie as we're wrapping presents. And it is just there's so many good funny scenes in that movie.
It's definitely good.
Rob Reiner is he's hysterical.
Can't believe nobody had Lethal Weapon on any list or Die Hard.
Die Hard's on my honorable mention, but it was on my pre-write page. Didn't make my honorable mention. Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park too.
Has not been spoken about. That was a huge movie for me when I was growing up. Taxi Driver. Big fan of Taxi Driver. Talking about Christmas movies. Christmas Vacation. Love Actually. White Christmas, just for my mom, I guess. Cool Hand Luke was on my list.
See, I don't know if a lot of those movies would even made your list if we did this in July.
Well, if I'm thinking of seasonal movies, like July movie, I put down Cool Hand Luke.
Independence Day.
Seven. I love Seven. What's in the Box?
Or Braveheart 2, The Patriot.
Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead made my list. Untouchables made my list. Close Encounters of the Third Kind made my list.
Yeah.
Field of Dreams.
Figured it would, Ryan. Close Encounters.
I mean, it's been.
I can't believe nobody had didn't have 2001.
I thought about it.
I've
never been able to watch that movie all the way through without falling asleep.
I can't think about that movie without.
I've seen it all, but I've never been able to sit through it completely
without thinking of Armageddon, which means I can't think of that movie without thinking of Ben Affleck, which puts me down a weird rabbit.
And then you're
hole.
like, oh, Deep Impact. That was a good movie too.
Yeah.
Deep Impact.
No.
With Tia Leone.
Yeah, she was in that.
She dies.
Man.
In it.
Great. I was going to watch it. Now it's ruined.
The more and more I think about her.
Stop. Dude, don't. This is a family show.
Speaking of family, there is something we need to cover because I was asked about it on Thanksgiving.
You guys are pregnant?
No, I was asked.
Congratulations.
We needed to know how your
Doug's engaged
because we talked about your Thanksgiving.
Oh, right.
We need to know how your Thanksgiving at your house went. Or how you think it went, and then we need to check. I will check with someone else and realize how it really went.
Honestly, that was nasty. I coughed right in the mic. Just to let Doug know that what happened was this year the stars aligned in such a fashion that we have a very small ranch style house. I have a very large side. My side of the family is very large, both physically and in the amount of numbers in which we occupy. My wife's family is very small, and there's not a lot of them, and they're kind of quieter people on the whole. So like when we have family functions, it's sort of interesting to see how her side of the family, my in-law side of the family, sort of get overwhelmed by the large sort of thousands of cousins that are on my side of the family. So stars aligned, people's schedules sort of didn't work out. So there was a lot of people who was going to miss Thanksgiving. So we offered to host it at our house this year for just the small group of people that were actually going to be able to make it. It went phenomenal. It was amazing. Like I cleared out my living room, moved furniture, had a great big 2 long banquet tables. Everybody was able to sit at the same table, which has never happened at any family function of mine before. I cooked so much food. My fridge is full because there was only 11 people there when it was all said and done. But I scheduled things out. I took notes. My mom was giving me all sorts of grief because she thought I was going to be stressed out when I got there, and when she got there, and she kept asking my wife, "Has he been antsy? Has he been stressed out?" And she was like, "No, he's fine." I come about it like it was a lesson plan, Doug. I had all my materials listed, and I had several sheets of paper. I had all my recipes saved on my phone and on the iPad. I sat down the night before, sat down Wednesday night, and I sort of we were eating at 5, which helps, because normally you eat at 1, it's a big deal. So I had like 9:45 turkeys out of the refrigerator. 10 o'clock, I'm preheating the roaster. 10:30, I'm peeling potatoes. 11 o'clock, I'm boiling the eggs for deviled eggs or whatever. So, and I gave myself lots and lots and lots of room in between the things that had to be done and when they were supposed to be done. And really, I just sort of checked it off my list as I went through. And I was never rushed, and I was never stressed out. And my mom and dad, my mom forgot the sweet potatoes, and that was the only mishap of the whole entire evening, is that I didn't have the sweet potatoes that I wanted at my Thanksgiving dinner. But overall, it was really just a good time. It was very peaceful. It was very nice and very calm. And my brother, who's a fireman, had to work on Thanksgiving, so we actually had another Thanksgiving dinner today for like the other side of my uncle's. So my uncle's kids were able to come today, and then my brother and his wife was able to come today, and then my whole family would have been there as well if my son wasn't sick. But overall, it was really just a nice, calm, peaceful day, and it went so well that I think we're going to actually do it again next year. So yeah, even if more of the family end up coming, or the schedules don't necessarily aren't quite as structured, I guess, is what they were this year. I'm looking forward to it, and mission successful. Thanksgiving has always been one of my favorite holidays because of that dinners at my grandmother's, my dad's mom in Fort Wayne, and it was just a smaller side of the family, and she was always such a good cook, and was always such a, she had music playing in the dining room, and there was a kids' table. It was very traditional, sort of Norman Rockwell-esque, and that's all I wanted to create yesterday, and I think I did a pretty good job of it.
So it's just a shame about those sweet potatoes.
It was honestly. You joke, but sweet potato. We talked a lot about splitting flavors, like cutting your deviled eggs and like having a little bit of deviled egg with a little stuffing, and a little bit of deviled egg with a little bit of turkey and gravy.
Right.
Sweet potato is one of those ones that, to me, can add and change dynamic flavors.
Ryan's really getting into mixing all of his food together in the middle of his plate and just eating it that way,
like a pig in a trough.
Right.
Honestly. But without the sweet potatoes, sweet potatoes wasn't able to combine my flavors like I wanted to. So mine went well, Mike.
Mine was fantastic. The turkey was spot on.
I'm still waiting
this year. Between break, I will let you guys have some turkey.
I was expecting you to show up. You said you were going to come eat pie, and I told Angie, and she at first was resistant, but eventually was like,
If
he's coming, all right.
No, they ended up my uncle had one there, so I made a steak and ale pie, which was. I felt bad for my Aunt Chris because I think people actually... Her turkey is phenomenal, delicious, but people were raving and going on and on about the steak and ale pie, and now I've been requested to make it for Chris Thanksmas.
Oh, we'll get to try it out then.
So you're going to try it out then.
You're fine, dude.
As long as it doesn't replace the Scotch eggs, I don't care.
No, there'll be Scotch eggs.
Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I did. We had part 1 yesterday with my wife's side, and we have part 2 tomorrow with my side.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's interesting when we have families like that they're... well, obviously, you have both sets of grandparents for your kids nearby, so you can you have to go to both places.
Right.
But that was it was nice. It was really nice, and I could see next year not having to go to both places for Thanksgiving.
Right. It is nice. That's
what you do.
Well, I mean, with Sarah's side of the family, it is just her mom now. So it's her mom and then everyone from my side of the family. Right. And so normally, with my parents being divorced, it actually ends up being, this year it didn't happen, but my stepmom and her parents and her grandma and her sister end up showing up. I had 17 people here, but with them, it would have been over 23. So it would have been a much bigger crowd. That's how big it was last year. But this year it worked out because I did the same thing. I had 2 long tables right down the middle of the living room, and everybody. This was the buffet room. Everyone came in, got their food, left, and ate in the living room, and it worked out really, really well. So
okay, just real quick, did you say prayer then before they came to the buffet, or did you say prayer after everybody had gone through the buffet and said?
It's a funny story about that because my grandma. She normally eats at 12:15. She made that very clear. She normally eats at 12:15. I said, then you should have had snack 12:15 because I told you we're eating at 2 o'clock. And it was 2:30, and she was freaking out. Man, she needed to eat right then and there. I said, well, I'm going to go say prayer, so then everybody can come in here if you want. But if you want to go and get your food while I'm praying, go ahead. And she didn't know she came in there, but she was kind of mad at me about that situation.
Got to keep that blood sugar up.
I'd say so. I'm like, she was standing over me the whole time I'm carving the turkey, almost cutting her fingers off. She's in there grabbing turkey. So
I was just kind of curious because we did the same thing. We had the long table, we had the buffet, but I waited for everybody to get through the buffet, and then we said prayer when everybody had food. And really, I think next year, this is how well it went. These are the things I'm trying to tweak. I mean, these are small things about when grace is actually being
I'm
said.
impressed. I'm impressed.
I need to write it down.
Right, strike while the iron is hot, Ryan.
The thing is, Doug, if you've never realized it about Ryan, is that Ryan will have these grand ideas in his head of how he wants something to go, and it will go very close to that. But in his mind, it didn't come anywhere close to that, and he will pick it apart normally. So I'm very impressed that he's not doing that right now. I'm proud
I don't
of
present that image.
You've grown.
No.
You've grown.
Present that image. Thank you. If you want to hear how we're going to pick things apart, make sure you come back next week because we're going to talk about Star Wars. And the most depressing day of my life.
Lots of Star Wars toys still available. Reports are coming in from the Black Friday, and evidently sales are way down.
Really?
And there's tons and tons of Star Wars stuff not flying off the shelves. So if you're looking for that Captain Phasma, looking for that Captain Phasma doll, now's the time to get it. Phasma, whatever.
Phasma. What is this, Star Trek?
Hearthstone, whatever.
Thank you so much, Doug, for being on the show today. He's going to be back next week. We're going to talk about Star Wars. Thanks, guys, for being on there. I'm glad everybody had a great Thanksgiving. You can follow us at BuffaloBrotherhood.com. You can follow us at Facebook.com/BuffaloBrotherhood. You can follow me on Twitter at BuffaloCast. You can follow the show on Twitter at the BOBcast Nation. You can follow Mikey on Twitter at FooMan2, 2 O's, 2 N's, and the number 2. Follow Doug on Twitter at ReFriedEvo. Do you do Twitter? Do you do social media?
I do Facebook.
But don't sell yourself short because Doug, at the beginning of this, in August or whatever, was doing these elaborate, like, 80s quizzes that were phenomenal. And we're going to talk about that in the beginning of the next show. Is that all right?
Sure.
It was right in August, right? It was right towards the beginning of the school year.
Right around there,
yeah. So we're going to come back and talk about that afterwards. But thank you so much for being with us. I'm glad everybody came back from Thanksgiving, maybe a little bit heavier, but happier. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody. Oh, man, we're so close, but it's all right. You just want to fade it out now?
You sure you don't want to keep going?
No, I really don't want to keep going. You can just fade it out. Fade it out real nice and slow.
Here. Why
don't you do it? Do you want me to reach over and fade while you cast this out?
No, I got it.
Okay,
you
go.
Just keep talking what you're talking about.
No, you got it. You do it.
Why?
I don't. You're fading me out. Okay, I see. Next time.